one of the things that I pointed out on CBS this morning is that although the prince is always viewed through the prism of Her Majesty, he had an illustrious career even before he married Queen Elizabeth, then Princess Elizabeth. He was a Royal Navy officer. He fought valiantly in World War II. He was a young second lieutenant, 21 years old, and he was made the second in command of HMS Wallace, which saw heavy action during World War II. So he did have this career, and even the things that he did in his role as the royal consort, 22,000 appearances over the course of his time there.
That's right. He did have, as you mentioned, an illustrious career in the British Navy, and he gave that up to serve the Queen, to serve the crown. And he is largely known for the duty that he prioritized over these decades in his marriage to Queen Elizabeth. Buckingham Palace released a statement just a bit ago saying, "It is with deep sorrow that Her Majesty, the Queen, has announced the death of her beloved husband, Prince Philip. He passed away peacefully," the statement says, "this morning at Windsor Castle, that's just outside London. The royal family joins with people around the world in mourning his loss." Now, that announcement was also posted on the gates of Buckingham Palace, and flags are lowered to half-mast on royal and government buildings. The Duke of Edinburgh was 99 years old. He was hospitalized for a month and treated for pre-existing heart condition and an infection before he was released on March 16th. He then returned to Windsor Castle, west of London, where he had been living largely in isolation during the pandemic with the Queen. Vlad.
Roxana, as you know, Prime Minister Boris Johnson spoke just outside of number 10 Downing Street soon after the news broke this morning. What did he have to say about it, and what reaction are you hearing now from world leaders?
Yeah, Prime Minister Johnson, he said he was very saddened by the news of the passing of Prince Philip. And he also said that the prince, quote, inspired the lives of countless young people. And he remembered the prince as one of the last surviving people to have fought in World War II. Also, we heard from Scotland's First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon. She sent her deepest condolences to the Queen and her family. And the Archbishop of Canterbury released a statement saying Prince Philip was a, quote, master at putting people at their ease and making them feel special. Vlad.
And as you know, Roxana, this comes at a time of turmoil for Buckingham Palace. You know, one of the things that is probably, just as a reporter, as a journalist, that is going to be, in addition to the loss of Prince Philip, is that we will not be able to cover the pomp and the circumstance and the royal state funeral that presumably was planned for Prince Philip, should this ever happen. And we should remind our viewers that he was going to celebrate his 100th birthday in June. That was going to be a lot of pomp and circumstance. And now, because of COVID, you know, there just won't be the level of looking back at his life that he probably would merit in normal times.
Yeah, probably a lot of it will be done through the media, through pictures and images and videos of his past appearances. And he said himself, actually, Vlad, we've heard from his aides, that he didn't want the fuss of a full state funeral. He wanted a quieter affair, even if his wife, the Queen, may have wanted something more high profile. He's expected to be buried in Frogmore Gardens on the grounds of Windsor Castle, just outside of London. You also mentioned, Vlad, that his death comes at a time of turmoil for the royal family. And as you know, the interview that his grandson, Prince Harry, and his wife, the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan, did on CBS News with Oprah last month was a very explosive interview, and the royal family was dealing with that, along with some allegations of racism. We know Prince William since denied that the royal family is racist. We also know, and as you know very well, Prince Philip's son, Prince Andrew, has been in the headlines over the past several months. He's been embroiled in this scandal over his friendship with the late Jeffrey Epstein, who was accused of sex trafficking. But I do think, Vlad, many people are going to remember the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, for the service that he gave to the crown, to this country, to the Commonwealth. and his many appearances, over 22,000, as you mentioned, as his time as consort to Queen Elizabeth. And people remember what he gave up to support the Queen during all these decades. Vlad.
It's such an important reminder, Roxana, and certainly as we look back on the life of Prince Philip, we'll talk about some of those gaffes that he made, some of the things that he said that had people wondering about how the prince thought of other people in the world. But one of the things that I think that is critical and it's important that you said, his service to Queen Elizabeth II, his service to the crown, his service to the people of Great Britain. Let's not forget, as I said, that Prince Philip was himself a prince. He is the son of a prince and a princess, Princess Alice of Battenberg and Prince Andrew of Greece. His uncle was a king in Greece, and he renounced all that. He renounced his own royal lineage when he married Elizabeth and became a British subject. He renounced his claim to the Greek and Danish thrones and adopted the surname of Mountbatten, which was his uncle's, his maternal grandfather's name, and served Britain in World War II and then the crown for all those years, 75 years of marriage plus. Roxana Saberi for us in London. Thank you, Roxana, as always.
You bet.